So I'd like to introduce Oliver.
All right, welcome everybody. Thank you for the warm introduction. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. As mentioned, my name is Olivier Koelemij. I'm the founder and managing director of MediaMonks LA, and very bullish about AR and mixed reality in general. My intent for today's talk is to walk you through a few key considerations around implementing AR in today's or in your marketing mix. So without further ado, let's dive in. If you want, you can take a quick snap of my QR code and it sends you to my personal page, as well as some links to other AR articles, which you might find interesting. But without further ado, I am, like I said, Oliver. I represent a company called MediaMonks, which is a global creative production agency delivering the highest quality content at scale across the entire modern marketing mix. We do it for some of the largest brands out there, spread across around 40 locations in 30 countries, operating under a single P&L. In a single slide, we have the opportunity to work with the best talent through that single P&L. We've been the most awarded, which to me speaks to the quality of work and the love that we have for the things that we do. And we are future-proof. We have been an innovation partner for some of the largest tech companies out there, which is super exciting. In extent to that, we are platform preferred partners for some of the largest AR platforms out there, like Snap, Google, and Facebook, pretty much in the inner circle. And that allows for us to really pull insights and push the industry forward as much as we can, together with our excellent partners and clients. And last but certainly not least, we've been doing it for quite some time. So back in 2014, we started with our first AR piece. Very limited when it comes to both technical maturity as well as distribution, but it most certainly was an exciting piece. But yeah, we've been in the mix for quite some time now. And like I said earlier, very bullish when it comes to AR. So with that, without further ado, let's start with a quick snapshot, a reality check on AR. I think if you look at it, AR is changing the way people interact with their surroundings and with each other, blurring the lines between the digital and the physical worlds, and reducing the friction between brands and their audiences. And with that, a few quick snippets out of the industry that we picked up in the last 48 hours. I think one from the Motley Fool is exciting. A camera was once a device to document noteworthy moments. Snap's camera is a means of having a conversation, a new way to look at your camera as the center point of it all. Secondly, with image recognition, your product on the store shelf or in the world can become triggers for compelling experiences. Thirdly, AR improves our ability to rapidly and accurately absorb information, make decisions, and execute required tasks quickly and efficiently. So getting a sense of where we are right now, and honestly, why now consider augmented reality? It's been out there for quite some time, and all the way back to the Pokemon madness, which is still an incredible use case, even after all these years. But why now? Why today? Consider augmented reality as part of your marketing mix. And I think it's important to start with truly understanding the potential of AR, which is, on the one end, it's hyper intuitive and instinctive technology for users. Secondly, it's connected to the most personal device that everyone owns. I am absolutely positive that 98, if not 99% of the people watching this right now has AR in their pocket or laying in front of them on their desk. And thirdly, best of both worlds. It's a medium that allows for narrative and interaction, which speaks to the original promise of digital in general. So what is that good stuff then that is working in our favor today? I think it's threefold. So on the one hand, we have technical maturity. On the other hand, we have distribution, and the other one, we have user behavior. So starting with the first one, technical maturity and breakthroughs, 5G connectivity, all of that exciting stuff. We're at a pivotal point where augmented reality, especially focused on mobile, has reached a certain technical maturity that makes it accessible for a lot of brands to consider AR as part of your marketing mix. Secondly, we're seeing greater adoption than ever before across the board through mass mobile adoption, like ARKit and AR Core, or through ARKit and AR Core, as well as implementations on the web powered by both Apple and Google, which makes it hyper accessible. And lastly, elephant in the room, COVID-19, it's accelerating the digital transformation on all fronts. We see it with every client and brand that we work with. And that on its own is also a positive catalyst, I would call it, for augmented reality and its adoption. So with that, that's all interesting. Let's talk about a handful of considerations. I brought 5, which I'll take you through, starting with the first one. Learn to love lenses. And what I mean with that is lenses have been out there for quite some time, and I'm positive that you experienced them firsthand or through any person that you know coming out of the millennial era, so to speak. But it's been out there, and we've seen this form of AR being very successful. It being because it's fun and it allows for people to self-express themselves in new ways. And brands have seen a lot of success doing this, having these experiences be mildly branded and have an amazing amount of reach, which is now more than ever before. Another great example is something that we've seen now that YouTube has implemented, new AR beauty features that allow for viewers to try on certain products while watching video reviews, which is when it comes to intuitivity and interactivity, it doesn't get any better than that. And a quick insight that we got from Facebook is for We Makeup brand, AR ads on Facebook drove a 27.6 point lift in purchases, with the average person spending 38 seconds interacting with the ad unit, which is clearly absolutely incredible. So that's one, learn to love lenses. Secondly, build on top of loyalty. Mobile is a behavior, not a device, and I think this is an absolute important one, especially if you tip that towards loyalty. Consumers are ditching the plastic loyalty cards in favor of digital alternatives. This is such a great example. 73% of smartphone users indicate they're interested in saving loyalty cards on their mobile phones. What we're saying here is try and leverage the things that you have already, which I'll get to more in a few slides from now, but build on top of the loyalty that you acquired, and don't try and create siloed experiences. Thirdly, augment your business. You'll be able to walk into a restaurant and see the menu, the hours and the reviews on your device, because the AR cloud will layer over top. A beautiful insight from eMarketer, and I think it's absolutely spot on. There isn't a better time for you to start thinking about augmenting and activating your products real time with AR as its center point. Something that we did for Brown very recently. So Brown was in need of a more innovative approach to their toolkits, as they were currently working with generic assets that were not giving their local markets the variety of channel-specific content that they needed. And through AR, we were able to give the users an experience to really try and interact with the product, something that we call persuasive marketing. So interacting with the product in a way that helps it make it stick to the brain and really feel like that's something that they need. It's an exciting piece, but it allows for brands to really showcase the power of products or experience in a new way, in a way that has never been possible before. So augment your business. 4, see the world differently. And what I mean with that is, it's interesting to consider and think about the fact that the camera is the new browser. Just hold your phone up and look through the lens of it, and then look through the world around you. AR has the power to change the way people interact with their surroundings. And if you embrace that, if you take that and embrace it and use it as a catalyst, or use it as a piece of knowledge that or a lens, if I may, to look through it when you think about innovation, or you think about your marketing mix, or when you think about doing new and exciting things to reach your audiences. This is a great starting point if you're considering AR in general. Cameras are browsers. And lastly, combine emerging tech. And what I mean with that, this is a beautiful slogan. What I mean with that is innovation is the new norm. And we've seen a lot of success when it comes to the confluence of new technology. So consider AI as part of your AR approach, for example, or voice, or any new form of technology, if I may. We've seen the biggest success. It starts with something quote unquote simple, like image recognition, but it goes to much longer extents. I think if you find an opportunity to be able to do something like that, you'll quickly sit on a piece of very PRable content. It might get you a lot of eyeballs, which is clearly a great thing from a marketer's perspective. So that's kind of like took you on that journey of 5 major things that I think stand out. And I wanted to take that and translate that into something very tangible and actionable for you, or for you as a brand. What you now should do next, or at least take some of those considerations and see what how you can implement that. So I have a few things listed out here in the next several slides as food for thought. So things to do right now. 1, embrace tech limitations and find a strong partner to guide you and consult. What I mean with this is embrace the tech limitations. Don't fight it. A lot is possible, and we certainly, as mentioned earlier, reached a certain level of technical maturity, but it's not, we're not there just yet. You can't do full AR in your web browser, for example. There are ways to leverage web AR, absolutely, in a very smart way, especially around products. But if you want true AR with occlusion, with leveraging depth API, all of that good stuff, you really want to understand what's possible, and don't fight it, but embrace it and have a partner to guide you. Big yes to lenses in today's day and age, for example. Secondly, added AR advertising to the media plan. So we've seen a lot of value coming out of connecting your media with your creative ahead of moving into production. And that adds for a lot of cost efficiencies across the board. So if you start by considering AR as part of your marketing mix and media plan, it allows for you to creatively think about it and leverage your productions or potential assets that you might already possess if you're a product-based company, to do some extraordinary things, which is a beautiful segue into the third one, and that is start thinking about asset workflow, because you don't want AR to be a constant additional spend, because it's not needed. So like I said, a beautiful tie back to the first one as well. Find a strong partner to help guide you and consult you from that perspective. 4, as briefly touched upon, web AR is an easy win for product companies. A quick look is a beautiful example, something that Apple is launching right now through their Safari browser that allows for you to augment have the user or consumer augment your product through the browser in a very seamless way. Google is doing the same thing. I believe if you would right now pull up your phone, you have your Chrome browser installed, type in human skeleton, and you have an opportunity to augment a human skeleton with an explosion of information around it in your living room, bedroom, or wherever you find yourself in right now, which is truly exciting. So it is truly within reach. It has hit mass distribution. There is technical maturity, and I think we're getting to a point of user behavior as well, where we're almost to a point that we accept that we understand the power of the medium or the technology. Number 5 on this page, start thinking about living in a 3D ecosystem. So what we've been producing a lot for the last several months is AR-driven search, banners, and social. So there are many components here that you can leverage, but start with thinking about them and considering them. A few more things. In terms of loyalty, something that we talked about earlier, have a great mobile app and don't build AR only apps siloed. It needs to be connected. It needs to be part of something that the user already understands or has in their pocket. The threshold of downloading a native app is extremely high, as I suspect everybody knows here. So if it's not the thing that you want to do, if it's not possible through current web AR, try and see if you can leverage the powerful app that you might already have. Secondly, think of the AR functionality that can deliver value to clients, save money for your corporation. What I mean here is, because it's so exciting, similar to virtual reality or mixed reality in general, AR can be so creative. You can literally build worlds around your consumer in ways that has never been able before, that you can lose yourself in creative rabbit holes. So what you want to do is always, probably it's a good idea to do them in short sprints and short prototypes, but always think about the result and think about the value that you deliver to the person that is experiencing the AR experience that you develop for them. Thirdly, use it to activate new product demos, social shares, and campaigns. And I think that's something that we're going to see a lot in 2020. Product activations, because we're at a point that we can just, considering your camera to be the new browser, point and shoot on a product and take users on a journey and teach them, depending on what you want the AR to do, whether it be awareness or conversion driven, but you can take them on a journey and really help them understand what it is that they can do with either a product or experience, whatever it is that they're pointing at. Something that we call stories in sales is that beautiful balance between hitting your KPI and make it action or conversion driven, and on the other hand, tell the story in a narrative now through a super awesome new way. And then fourth, how central can the camera and AR become? See Snap, TikTok, Instagram, and more. So something that we touched upon earlier as well. Consider for it to be the center of it all. Third slide, holistic question. Things to nearly do. Almost there. Holistic question. What does AR mean for my business, product, or service? Don't jump on the bandwagon and wanting to do this fun new type of technology. Really think about the value that it can deliver to you as a business, product, or service. It's vital. Map out some potential pilots with clear understanding of how to prove business impact. Something that I mentioned earlier, it's a methodology that we implemented and we honor and do with our clients is short sprints that work pilots that really help us understand business impact and the results that we're creating and making. It's a great production approach. Thirdly, make it part of the customer user journey. Solid experiences don't impact. I think in today's day and age, the consumer has 11.4 touch points before actually getting to a moment of conversion. So you can consider AR to be an aspect of that journey. So when does your user, your consumer, interact with this AR piece? What have they seen before, and what will they potentially see after? So consider the whole customer decision journey as part of your strategy, and AR can play a vital and key component in there. So consider it there. Look at it holistically. Third, make it part of the, fourth, focus on retail and results. I think we've been talking a lot about product activations. I think retail is an incredible vertical right now. And then, like I said earlier, focus on results. Coming up to my last slide. Become camera ready. It's SEO and SEM for the real world. what our experience I want to create and unlock as people interact with my brand. Win a PR moment first gets rewarded, something that we mentioned earlier as well. And lastly, be aware of technology bias. With that, thank you for listening, and I'm here to answer any questions that you might have.
Wow, that was great. A lot of great information. I love. Learn to love your lens. So very true. So thank you very much for that. We have a question from Tuck Siver. He wanted to notate that he loves your website. And also he wanted to know how many clients are approaching you asking for AR solutions, or are you offering AR to clients as a possible solution to their problems?
What an incredible question. Honestly, it's both. And I think if you look at it, over the last few years, I think 2 years ago, I would say every brand and client that we have asked about it, especially because it was that moment in time absolutely hot and happening, and everybody wanted to jump on that bandwagon. But I think nowadays brands get more mature and understand the power of what I call the modern marketing niche and the power that VR and AR carry if it's implemented well as part of their the to be considered customer journey. So I know that about 80% of the brands that we work with actively request it, and then we are definitely pushing it out there as well for our brands to consider, simply because it allows for you as either a marketer or brand to do stuff that has never been done before. So definitely both.
That's great. Fernando Gomez asks, can AR tech be used in movies, series, and the new content ecosystem as a strategy to capture an audience, or is it just trendy technology?
Depending on how you implement it. I think it's a good question. It definitely depends on how you implement it. I think what I mentioned earlier, don't fight don't fight what is technically feasible at the moment. Find yourself a good partner that allows for you to support you and guide you in certain ways. There are things that you can do leveraging a native app versus things that you can do on a mobile browser at the moment, for example. So there are several ways to kind of leverage that. And then secondly, I think if you consider AR to be, it's a new way for a user to interact with the world around them in any way possible creatively. So definitely anything is possible. You can either leverage as a second screen experience or second augmented experience or standalone. But definitely possible. I would recommend considering it part of your strategy for sure.
Okay, and our last question, just because we were running a little bit out of time, is what are some of the examples you are providing potential clients to show AR advertising value versus something like a video ad by Daniel Kelly?
Excellent question. I think what's
Yeah.
interesting is to look at some of the new ad technologies that are being launched, AR ads by Google, as well as some of the new opportunities that are being presented by Apple in browser. I think it's called Quick View. There are many new formats that you want to explore and consider, at least look into, and really get a sense of what you can do with it, and then find yourself a good partner to really do a deep dive and connect that to the KPIs that you set for yourself. I don't necessarily say that it's a better format than video, but I think it has opportunities to do more than video if, again, used in the right way at the right time to reach your consumer effectively and meaningfully.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for all of this. It was great and great tactical bites. And remember to always love your lenses. Thank you again.
All right. Thank you.